Hi everyone and welcome to Teacher Travels. This is part 3 and this one's about Switzerland and my name is Paul McEntee. Okay, so today's presentation we shall start with a little self-introduction. Some of you might know me, some of you do know me and probably many of you don't, so I'll tell you a little about myself and then I'll give you a little overview of Switzerland and we'll look at the 4 main language regions, which will be the French speaking Geneva, the Romansh speaking in the Grisons, German in Zurich, and then the Italian speaking of area of Ticino. So a little introduction. My name is Paul McEntee and I live in Nerima. And I've been teaching for about 20 years in universities, and I've been working at Toyo University for 3 years. I'm from the UK and a prefecture, a county called Lincolnshire, which is in the east of England. And you can see it there. You can see the UK, and the red mark is my little village. Let's zoom in to it. And you can see it's a very small little village, lots of fields, there's nothing there. It's very boring but very beautiful. This is my hometown, just here, the next town near, and it's called Spalding. As you can see, it's really in the countryside, and it's part of the Lincolnshire Fens, which is where lots of food is grown and in all the fields surrounding Spalding and my village. And we're actually very famous for tulips around my area. There are lots and lots of tulip fields. So just very briefly, some things I love and some things I like doing. Well, this is my family here. We're just a small family and we love travelling in Japan, but also abroad to many different countries. My hobbies, my lifestyle, well, cycling is a big part of my life. I cycle everywhere. I try to cycle to university every day. I love watching and playing sports before, rugby, football and cricket. Cooking, meeting my friends, going out, eating out, and of course, travelling. And of course, teaching and my job. So you might ask, Paul's from the UK, why is he talking about Switzerland? What is the Swiss connection? Is it because I like cheese? Or do you think it's because I love chocolate? Or maybe you might think I'm super rich and I have lots of money in a secret Swiss bank account. Well, the reason is because my wife actually works for Swiss International Air and my family lives in Geneva. I've been travelling to Switzerland for a very long time. Since I was a child, I've been there many times. And I just love the nature and the diversity of the country. So, in this beautiful picture, you can see the Matterhorn, a famous, iconic mountain of Switzerland. Here are some things about Switzerland. It has the highest mountains in Europe. And it has the lowest crime rate. It's a really safe country. It has the longest life expectancy in Europe, which is only second in the world behind Japan. It has one of the shortest working weeks in the world. So people leave their workplaces nice and early and go home and enjoy family life or whatever they want to do. Switzerland is always rated as one of the most innovative countries, but also it's one of the most expensive to buy a coffee, apparently. An interesting point is that people tend to get married later in life. And 25% of the population is actually foreign. They come from different countries and they go to Switzerland to live and work. And there are 4 recognised national languages. And here they are. you can see the French-speaking region in blue. The majority is the German-speaking region, Italian, located around the city of Lugano, and the Romansh-speaking area. There are 26 cantons, which a canton is a prefecture or a county, and they're all very unique and different, and they're very proud. People are very proud of their canton and where they come from. Well, so lucky you everyone today. We're going to have some guest speakers. I'm not Swiss. I've been there many times. I know a lot of things about it, but I invited some people to talk about where they come from. I think it's just a really good idea to listen to different Swiss English accents, because English is a global language. Also to learn something unique, real and local from each of our Swiss speakers. So first, our first speaker today, Joel, he's from Swiss International Airlines, and then Onna will join, and she's a researcher at the University of Grisons. Bert will join us, and he's a yoga teacher. Saskia is from the Embassy of Switzerland in Tokyo, Japan. And finally, Dominic will explain all things Zurich to you from the University of Zurich. So first of all, let's take a look at the canton of Geneva, which is there. So here we are. Let's take a look. As the French-speaking area, it really is a truly international city. It's surrounded by the Swiss-French Alps, on the shore of Lake Geneva, where the famous jet d'eau is, the big water spray, home of the UN, and of course the Red Cross. So here is our first speaker, Joel. He's the flight chief of Swiss International Airlines. So if you ever see him on a flight and tell him you're from Toyo University, he might give you a free upgrade into business class. Let's listen to Joel speak about Geneva.
So hello, I'm Joël Nico, I'm a Swiss guy. I'm working for Swiss International Airline as a chief steward, and I would like to talk a little bit about my country, Switzerland, to make it appealing for you. So Switzerland is a very small country in the center of Europe. It's an old country which is dating from 1291. So it's more than 700 years old, and it's built of 26 cantons, which are little regions, which are all independent. They all have their different organization, different school systems, different holidays, even different languages. We have like 4 languages in Switzerland. The biggest part is German-speaking part, which is speaking an old kind of German, which is called Swiss German. Then we have a part which is speaking French. That's the part I'm coming from. I'm coming from Geneva. And we have an Italian part, which is very exotic. They are in the south of Switzerland. And we have also a little part of one easterly canton which speak Romansh, which is a language that only exists in this part of the world. And well, you probably know Switzerland for chocolate clocks, watches, and Roger Federer, our tennisman, which just retired, which is very famous. He's very famous, and we're all very proud of him. Yeah? And I'm proud of my city, Geneva, because that's where Red Cross was created by Henri Dunant, 100 years ago. And I think Red Cross is a nice ambassador to Switzerland into the world, also because of the values they're carrying. So come and visit and fly Swiss. That's my airline.
So thank you, Joel, and I hope you got a little taste of um, the Swiss French-speaking area of Switzerland in Geneva, and let's move on. So I've been here many times, and I try to come up with some things that I'd like to do when I'm there. So, whilst in Geneva, you can explore some culture and the history of the Red Cross, which in the Red Cross Museum is here in the bottom right. My auntie actually works here as a guide and an ambassador for the Red Cross. I really recommend just walking around the mazy old town here. It's such a beautiful place to stroll around and take a camera and take some amazing shots. The light is great and the buildings are amazing. The mountains are really nearby, and you have the beautiful mountain town of Chamonix and the tallest mountain in Europe, which is Mont Blanc. Explore further. It's also it's a gateway to other places, Geneva. You can take trains everywhere very efficiently. You can get a very quick train ride to Lyon in France for a gastronomic experience, where Lyon is famous for its cuisine, its French food. So that concludes the canton of Geneva. Let's change. Let's go somewhere else. And let's move to the other side of the country, to the Grisons, which is here. Okay, so in this area, it's partly Romansh and mostly German speaking. It really is the Swiss wilderness. This is where the most beautiful nature, in my opinion, is. Famous for some very scenic train journeys that you might have heard of before. We'll take a look at one of those later. Skiing, of course, hiking, outdoor sports, and all kinds of activities. Now, this is Onna, and she's going to talk about this area. And she's a researcher in the Department of Tourism, and she works for the University of the Grisons. So let's listen to Onna, and she'll give you a little taste of this canton.
BNG, buongiorno, guten Morgen, hello everyone. My name is Onna. I'm a senior research associate at the Institute for Tourism and Leisure at the University of Applied Sciences of the Grisons. And today I'd love to talk to you about where I grew up, the biggest and most eastern part of Switzerland. In my introduction, I talked to you first in Romance, which is a language between Latin as well as Italian, and it's only spoken by about 0.5% of the Swiss population, which is about 65,000 people. So it's definitely a minority language. And it's only spoken here in the Grisons. The second language was Italian, which is also spoken here in the Grisons, since the southern parts of our canton borders to Italy. And the last language was German, my mother tongue, or better, Swiss German. So we don't speak the German as the Germans in the upper part of Germany, but we speak a dialect. So, and besides those many languages we speak here, we are the only canton of Switzerland that has 3 languages, which is quite remarkable and also a reflector of our rich cultural heritage. And last but not least, I want to talk to you about where I'm actually now, what you see here in the background. I am located in Bregaglia Valley, which is famous for its art dynasty, the Giacometti family. You probably know artworks of famous Alberto Giacometti, who are sold all over the world for example, at Sotheby's and Christie's in New York for horrendous sums. And he grew up here in Stampa, where I'm actually now located. So, and in the spirit of this world-famous art dynasty, I'd like to welcome you here as well. We'd love to show you around and show you how beautiful Switzerland is. Unfortunately, at the moment, this is my outlook. So no snow, only rain and bad weather. But this is very, very atypical because, for instance, in St. Moritz, which is very near here, we have about 300 sunny days a year. So unfortunately, I chose a rainy one today to make this video. But I wish you a great day anyway, and with this I say addio, arrivederci, auf Wiedersehen, and goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honor. So I hope you enjoyed that. And what a shame it was not a really sunny, beautiful day, which it normally is in this area of the world. So yeah, again, I hope you enjoyed listening to someone from that area. Okay, so let's take a look at the next slide. And in this area, as I mentioned before, outdoor sports really is something. And you can try some easy to do mountain sports. For example, Switzerland's longest toboggan ride. Let's take a look at this video. This is just south of Chur, and it's easily Googleable. You can find it. I know some of my wife's friends have done this before. I have never done it, and I will never do it. I'm scared of heights and scared of these types of things. But look at the amazing scenery, and it's really easily accessible. Also, Chur, the town in the Grisons, is the home and the start point of the Bernina route. This is the Alpine train. I think it takes about 4 hours. I've never done this, but I know lots of my Swiss friends have done that. It's on my bucket list to do in the near future. I will get on this train and see the scenery. So 2 easily accessible spots to see the mountains and the beautiful nature. Okay, now we're going to do something a little bit interesting. We're going to listen to some Swiss German and just roughly translated into English subtitles. This is Bert, and Bert is a yoga teacher, and he's going to give us a little taste of the scenery and the atmosphere of the mountains.
Miteinander, mein Name ist Beat, ich komme aus der Schweiz, genauer gesagt aus Davos. Wir sind hier im Tischportal, das ist ein Seitental. Davos ist ein ganz bekanntes Skiresort. Davos ist auf 1600 Meter, wie gesagt, sehr bekannt in der Schweiz. Man redet hier Bündnerdeutsch, Bündnerdialekt. Und die Spezialität, da gibt es sehr, sehr viel. Bei uns ist sehr bekannt. Dann haben wir das feine Veltliner, Rotwein, das ist Tischmarkt, das geht runter auf Davos. Eine Stadt, die 12.000 Einwohner hat. Und der Hang, den wir hier sehen, das ist Plazan. Eines der bekannten Skigebiete. Es ist definitiv eine gute Zeit. Tschüss zusammen.
go. So thank you, Bert. He's a friend of ours, and also thank you to Porgendorf Sensei, who translated the Bert's Swiss German into English for us. Okay, so as you can see, it's quite a unique area in Graubünden, Grisons. It's very different to the city cantons. So with that in mind, let's visit the south. Let's go to Ticino, which is the Italian-speaking canton. And here's a picture on the right side, and as you can see, the mountains are very dramatic, very steep, and very sharp. They rise very steeply out of the lakes. And as I said, it's in the Italian-speaking area, surrounded by the Swiss-Italian Alps, which are really beautiful to fly over. If you take a flight from Switzerland to Italy, the planes barely touch the tops of the mountains, and you can get a wonderful view. And this, even though Swiss people are so lucky to live in such a beautiful area of the world, this is where they take their holidays. Right, so our next speaker is a lady called Saskia, and she's an academic intern at the Embassy of Switzerland in Tokyo, and she studied in the Ticino region, and we're all very lucky to have her speak for us today at Toyo. So listen carefully. Saskia speaks very quickly, so tune in and make some notes as you listen. And here is Saskia.
Buongiorno a tutti, mi chiamo Saskia, ho vissuto e studiato per 5 anni a Lugano, la bellissima parte italiana della Svizzera. Hello everybody, now in English. My name is Saskia. I studied and lived for 5 years in Lugano, the Italian-speaking part of Switzerland. Now I'm currently working as an academic intern at the Embassy of Switzerland in Japan. And I'm happy to present to you today the beautiful part, Italian part of Switzerland, Ticino. So as you might already know, Ticino is located in the southern part of Switzerland, bordering Italy. That's why you speak Italian. However, not only Italian itself is spoken, also a so-called dialetto ticinese. This is a Swiss Italian dialect, which is like spoken more in the rural areas. And for example, everything all right, tutto a posto in Italian becomes tutto a posto. Ticino is unique as it is influenced by Italy. You have a Mediterranean atmosphere with palm trees, colorful houses. You can see here Ascona. Then there is a stunning alpine scenery with a lot of different mountains like Monte Tamaro, Monte Lema, Monte San Salvatore. There are different valleys, for example, Valle Verzasca. You might know the movie Golden Eye by James Bond, where he jumped off this spot here. Then there is Valle Maccia. There are beautiful cascades, typical charming villages of Ticino, and of course beautiful lakes and castles, just as the UNESCO World Heritage Castle in the city of Bellinzona. The exotic touch can also be felt at different events and festivals, just as the Long Lake Festival or the Locarno Film Festival, as you can see here in the Parco Ciani and the Lugano Marittima. Not to forget though the food. The influence of Italy is really felt, just as of course with pizza and pasta, but you also have some popular dishes such as polenta, it's a cornmeal based dish, risotto, minestrone, a vegetable soup, or the local sausage, luganica, and various types of cheese, and of course excellent wines just such as Merlot, and local soft drink gazzosa, which are typically drunk in Boccalino. So you see, Ticino has something to offer for everyone, and you know what, even the people from the other speaking parts of Switzerland come to Ticino to spend their holiday there. Imagine. So come as well and godetevi il Ticino. Buona giornata a tutti. Ciao.
Thank you very much, Saskia. Wow, isn't that amazing? Did you see the food? The sausage, the luganta, absolutely delicious. So what a great place to go on holiday, and what a great place to start your holidays in Europe if you choose to go there. So let's move on. Okay, so now we have finished in the Italian speaking area, and finally that leaves us the canton of Zurich, located in the north. And let's look at some key information. There is Lake Zurich that you can see on the right side. And yep, it's in the German speaking area, Swiss German speaking area. And it is the biggest city in Switzerland, and it's a global centre for banking, finance, money, gold. There's lots of very important banks there, and it's a really cosmopolitan and vibrant city. There are lots of different cultures, lots of different influences, global influences here. And it's a very transient place. People come here and they pass through. So here is our final speaker today, and this is Dominic, and he knows everything about Zurich, and he's going to give you some hints and tips.
Hi, my name is Dominic, and I'm very happy to give you a brief introduction into Zurich and why this is a place that is absolutely worth visiting, particularly in summer. The beauty of Switzerland is that cities are very close to nature, and that also holds true for Zurich, the largest city of Switzerland. It's not the capital, which is in Bern, in the center of the country, but here in Zurich, also with the largest airport, you can enjoy a little big city with a huge cultural life, very diverse in activities and everything that you can enjoy on a trip, but at the same time you can do easy hikes across the surroundings of the city. An interesting tradition that Zurich has is a spring festival where different old-standing associations celebrate the start of spring, burning a snowman and measuring the time until the head of the snowman is exploding here on the main square of Zurich. If you're around in mid-April, usually, that is definitely an interesting tradition to witness. And it's not just the large event when they burn the snowman, but there's a lot behind this event also in the evening, the day before, where you can actually witness the Swiss tradition that is really important and not so well understood because it also represents a strong decentralized tradition of the country with a lot of knowledge and appreciation for professions, for craftsmen, as you have it also in Japan, where people who have this kind of skills are highly appreciated and also celebrated. Zurich does not have one monument for which it is famous for, such as the Matterhorn in the canton of Wallis, for instance. But it's the living quality that is extremely high in Zurich, ranking number 1 in Europe for many years now, often together with Vienna. And you can best experience this close to the different waters, like here on the image, the Limmat River. Since this spring also with e-boats, I recommend you to take this little Limmat, which is a great way to explore the city. There are other elements to this. People like to cross the river in summer from one side to the others, a few kilometers. You now have also really nice restaurants in many places along the lake. People also swim down the river on a few days when this is allowed. Otherwise, people mostly swim in the lake or some designed places along the rivers. So if you have the time to visit Zurich, try to get close to the locals and enjoy the great quality of living in this beautiful city in the heart of Switzerland.
So thank you very much, Dominic. And Dominic knows Zurich very well, as he does Japan. I think he's a coordinator between Georgi Sophia University arranging study abroad trips to Switzerland. So I hope you enjoyed his information, and I agree with some of the best things about Zurich. That you can cruise up and down the Limmat River and into Lake Zurich, and you can take a swim, just as Dominic mentioned. If you take the boat to the other end of the lake to Rapperswil, it's a really picturesque and quiet little town, and you can jump in the lake on a hot day. Of course, everybody loves chocolate, and everybody loves Swiss chocolate. Go to the Linz Museum, get some freebies, get some samples, and bring back lots of souvenirs for your friends and family in Japan. As you guys know, cycling is one of my passions, so you can cycle for free around Switzerland, around Zurich, in some months of the year. And it's a really nice, I like Geneva, but more so in the daytime. It's a nice place to kind of cafe and market hop. There are lots of flea markets, and the streets are quite busy, and there's lots of cool little cafes. So you'll probably spend a lot of money on coffee. So, and after all of that adventure from the 4 language regions of Switzerland, it's time to go home. So fly Swissair. You might see my wife on the plane, or Joel, and you can get a great service, a very convenient flight coming home. And Zurich Airport is really cool. It's a great place to go shopping just before you leave. And that concludes today's presentation for Teacher Travels Part 3. Thanks for listening, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed listening to different people and the different people's experiences and their hints and their tips. I'd just like to finish by suggesting and recommending and encouraging you to travel, to learn and experience different cultures. I've done it so much in my life. Also, of course, to make memorable experiences. You'll remember these travels for the whole of your life. And you'll make friends. And it's a great opportunity to communicate in different languages. And also an extra thank you to all of you that have attended the Toyo lunch sessions. I hope you enjoyed all of the talks whilst having your lunch, eating your obentos and tuning in or visiting the classrooms. And Robson Sensei will check everything at the end and all the attendances with the response, and he'll give you your TGL points. Here is some important information. Let's read it together. So for your outer class point, check with your English communication teacher. This is for first years. As you can see, photograph your notes, and if you want to write a report, please do so. It might be an opinion or something you've heard or viewed in the presentation. And also maybe an idea about which place you want to go to in Switzerland. Try the very delicious looking sausage in Ticino, or toboggan down the mountain in Grison. And of course, your English, everybody. Okay, here is today's respawn, and please complete this before the deadline, 12:59. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Feel free to talk to me about the presentation at any time if you need any further help, advice, or you have any questions. Take care. Bye-bye.